Hey, it's week 2, and Iris and I are here. And did you do your homework?
I just done it actually.
Yeah, I
I
saw
just
it. I
done
haven't
it.
had a chance to read it yet, but I
Yeah.
saw that it came through. So I know a few of us have done our homework, but those of you who are watching this video, if you didn't do your homework from last week, you're supposed to be going into the topic part that says about your story and writing a little bit of your story, because we're
Yeah.
talking about story energy this month. So it's important to write these things down so we can share with each other and give each other feedback. If we just keep it in our own head, it doesn't do any good at all.
Hmm.
That's the rules. That's the whole point of a community. So today we're going to talk about how to take our story and build resilience from it.
Hmm.
Because for all of us, we've lived through all kinds of experiences and we've figured it out, whether it was by the seat of our pants or otherwise, how to kind of keep making it through.
Hmm.
But there's actually steps we can do, and there's actually things we can consciously intend in order to increase our resilience or bring it to the forefront when we want to. And especially in these weird times, sometimes we need to like step that up a little bit more than we would in an organic process. So we have 4 steps we're going to go over. And then the homework is going to be to apply those 4 steps to a part of your life. So think about these as far as your story and where you would like to see a bit more resilience. Now, first, let me define resilience in this setting. The operational definition, kind of the function of resilience, is it's that part of us that gets us back on equilibrium after a time of stress. So something happens, we're surprised, something negative happens, whatever, and we get all excited. Then we need to bring our body back to equilibrium. And so that's our parasympathetic nervous system. And that's the part of us that we want to bring back into what we really
Hmm.
want to do, right? So resilience is how quickly can we get back to our homeostasis after some kind of thing, after an event. And sometimes, like in these days with the pandemic being crazy, or say we have a thing at work or in our life, this is constant stress for a while where we really are having to step up in lots of different areas, our body gets heightened for a period of time. So sometimes it takes it a little longer to get back to its homeostasis. But if it gets stuck in that heightened time, that's where the story energy can work against us. So if we get stuck in a I'm not good enough mental loop and we keep ourselves always working to try to prove we're good enough because we think we're not good enough, now
Hmm.
we're creating a story energy that's holding us back. So we want to start shifting the stories to make them serve us instead of hold us back. So that there's 4 pieces to this that we're going to apply. And the first piece or the first step, whatever, however you want to look at it, is awareness.
Hmm.
And I'm a big one on awareness. A lot of people say, well, start with being honest or start with but first of all, you have to be aware that there's a thing, that there's something to look at, or there's a situation. And so increasing our awareness all the time is extremely important because our awareness is what shows us the way, whether it's a spiritual awareness where we'll get ahas or intuitions and direction that way, right? Or whether it's emotional awareness or intellectual awareness. And sometimes we just kind of look around after we're meditating or something and we see things differently. So we want to first key into awareness, like, what's happening? The best way to be aware or to use your awareness for your benefit is to be curious. And like, I always use the word interesting, like, that's interesting. Like that energy is going through my body, trying not to label it or make it a thing, but just notice it and be
Hmm.
aware of it and be curious about it because it's giving me a message. And most of the time, if my brain tries to define that message, it's going to be wrong. So I just notice it and go, that's interesting. That's an interesting feeling. And just sit with it for a minute and be aware of it. Where is it going? What's it feel like? How strong is it? Is it moving? Is it the same? And just notice it because that awareness sets us up for how we want to move forward. Because some of the awareness will be, yeah, that's really comfortable and that feels great. And sometimes it'll be, yeah, it's a little prickly. Or sometimes it's like, it's heavy. I want to move that energy, because maybe it's too heavy. And so there's no wrong. It's not right or wrong. It's what's desirable. It's what keeps us resourceful.
Hmm.
Because sometimes if we have heavy energy and we need to be resourceful at work, we need to like lighten that up a little bit maybe. And maybe having a little heavy energy one day, If it's a rainy day and you want to lay on the couch and read books all day, it doesn't really matter if it's heavier or not. So we want to be aware of it so that then we can do the next part. The next part is set an intention and intend what we would love to have, or where we're going, or how we would like the flow to look. And so that's where we would say that I intend to be more joyful or happy, or I'd like to raise the vibration a little. It's kind of heavy. I want to kind of be up here, or, ooh, this is prickly. I'd like it to be smoother, where we can set the intention. And an intention is a marriage, if you will, of your mind and your spirit. It's when they come together and they set that intention for what we would like. It's actually energetically as powerful, and in some cases more powerful than prayer, because some people don't marry their spirit and their heart and their emotion in prayer. They just say it, and an intention does marry all three. So for some people, they're very similar. Some people, they haven't learned that yet. But an intention is when we go for alignment. We look at our gut. How are we feeling? Heart, what's going on here? Head, what's going on here? We bring them into alignment, and then we set the intention for what we desire. And that would be like, if it's prickly energy, maybe I want to feel calmer, or maybe I want to feel relaxed, or maybe I'm feeling all lazy and I need to pump up my energy, or maybe I'm sad and I want to be happy. Like, there's no wrong answer. It's just be aware first and then set the intention. Like sometimes if I have a long day of work, or like today I have lots of shifting to do, I set the intention early this morning to be able to be on point with each activity, because they're all different. And so
you do that in advance already, not just at that particular part. Okay, you are now stressful, but at that particular, but already sometimes at the beginning of the day.
Right. Right. I set my intentions at the beginning of the day and at the beginning of each activity. So like right before I got on this call, I set the intention of what would I like, what would I want to intend for this meeting? And that would be for me to share in a way people can understand, to show how a story energy. So I have an intention, vision, if you will. But then I also do it in the morning. Like I look at my calendar and go, these are the things that I need to do. So let's intend a perfect flow and perfect transitions, so that a big part of my unconscious self is already in the flow, is doing what it needs to do, which is makes things a lot easier, smooths out the road in front of us, if you will. I kind of imagine setting my intention in the morning, like rolling out the red carpet in front of me. Wherever I go, it's just the red carpet's rolling out in front of me, because I already kind of have set it up. I already know, well, this experience is going to be really fun, or this experience.
Or just a path, isn't it?
Right. Yes.
Sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so when we can feel and see that path as it opens all day, then we have less stress, we're more effective, and we're not as tired at the end of the day. And so, when we put our head on the pillow at night, it's like, nice thought. I'm not like, oh, it's more like, oh, that was great. So then, so there's awareness first, then there's intention. The next step is to be very consistent. And consistency is very important, because so many people think, well, if I say one affirmation or I intend one thing, then it should always be that way. It's not the case. The case is developing the discipline to be consistent. Say, okay, if today I'm intending to be in the flow, then I hold that in my mind and in my heart and in my soul all day, not just for 5 minutes in the morning or every once in a while. That's my intention for the day. That's my consistent viewpoint. That's my consistent demeanor, my way, my focus for the day. So sometimes I write them down on like little cards like this. And I put them around me. Sometimes I have them on little Post-it notes that I stick around, where nobody else can see them necessarily, but it reminds me. It reminds me to stay in the flow, and this is what I intended for the day, and let's be consistent about it. And we're going to get back to why the consistency is real important when it comes to story energy here in a minute. The fourth step is using your inner wisdom, your inner knowingness, your intuition, that gut part of you that knows better, the higher self, whatever word. I use inner wisdom, but all of us have a sense of inner wisdom. Like we do know on a deep level. We have a knowingness sometimes that there's no words for. So we want to remember that no matter what's happening around us or in our mind even, that there's a deeper self. There's a deeper self that does know. And so if we remind ourselves of that, then that part of us has more permission to show up. And that's where we can more effectively live out our vision and more effectively be resilient and more effectively use our story for our benefit rather than our difficulties. Because what most people do is in the story energy is they tell the same story over and over, but the story they're telling themselves over and over is not one that's serving them. It's not enlightening. It's not supportive. It's all about what they did wrong or what's not good enough or whatever, because that's how we're trained, to run the tape over and over and over of what we did bad or what was wrong or where we don't measure up or where somebody's better than us. Well, really, our nervous system just plays the message we plug in. It doesn't care. It doesn't have a care. It'll play whatever movie we plug in there. So if you want to put a horror flick in, then that's what the body will experience. You want to put a drama in, it'll get that. If you want a comedy, it'll get that. So what's your awareness about what you want playing in your movie theater? Like, I don't like horror movies, so I'm not going to play one of those. And so when I realized that my nervous system is just simply replaying the consistent, intentional stories that I have been playing, then I have now permission to use my inner knowingness and a new way to intend things in order to shift the story. So if the story might have been before, I can't get there from here, or I'm not good enough, then maybe the new story would be, I have plenty of time and I'm perfectly capable. I used to think years and years ago, I used to say, I never have enough time in a day. I never have enough time in a day. I never have enough time in a day. Like I was saying it all the time. And so I was never had enough time in the day because I kept saying I didn't have enough time in the day. It's like 30 years ago or so now. And then one day, a friend of mine goes, well, what if you did have enough time? And I'm like, well, that's an idea. Like that created a new awareness. And then I started intending, I have enough time. I have plenty of time. In fact, the universe warps time in my favor. I always have more than enough time. And so no matter what my ego wanted to say, no matter what the old tape wanted to say, I consistently held the intention that I have plenty of time. And then what happened was, in very short order, my divine wisdom, my deeper self, kept saying, yeah, we have plenty of time. And then things were happening with no stress, with plenty of time, based on me shifting my perception, my reality, my awareness about exactly what's going on. Because we are that much in charge of our experience, and so many times we think it's all externals, but it's not. It starts on the inside. So we want to use our internal knowingness, our internal divine wisdom to say, we know better. We know that whole idea there's not enough time and we're not good enough is just all a lie. That somewhere we picked up along the way. It's not true. And so when we challenge it and then we say, okay, let's see how we can intend something different. So my new intention was I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time and plenty of resources. I always have, I always will. And even when my bank account looks like I don't have plenty of resources, or even when I'm like, I don't know how this is going to play out, or even when whatever, fill in the blank, I still know that the higher truth, my divine wisdom self, knows better. So the only thing that can stop the knowing better, is me. That's where awareness is so important. Because when we're aware, we're like, ooh, don't want, if whatever I'm thinking about, I'm creating. Whatever I'm thinking about, I'm creating. Do I really want to create stress and strife and gooky feelings? Or do I want to create love and kindness and joy and peace? Even in the face of adversity. Like it's possible to be grateful and joyful even when things around us aren't going so great. And we do that by using our power of awareness and intentions. Say, I'm intending to have a marvelous, amazing day, no matter what. No matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And the more I do that consistently, the more I trust my inner self consistently, then more flow happens and things become not, maybe if they're not easier, but there's more of an ease and a grace and a poise. Things work better. And when things work better, that's what really matters.
Mm-hmm. That's a bit as well about self-confidence, isn't it, as well?
Yes. Well, it really helps a lot with self-confidence, because if we undermine ourselves a lot, then we keep losing self-confidence.
Yeah.
And then we don't take risks we want to take in the world. And then we don't want to do some things because we don't feel confident. So this is a great step to say, well, hold on, let me start building the sense that I am competent and I can do things. And that lack of self-confidence was not so true. You know, it came from a situation that maybe we could say, well, there's something better. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's 4 very simple steps that sometimes take a lot of effort. Sometimes they flow real easy. And there's no wrong answer. It's just being aware. That awareness is key, because the more I'm paying attention, because the universe is always giving me feedback. So the more I'm paying attention to, is the feedback I'm receiving that which I desire? If I don't desire the feedback I'm getting, then I want to make a change. If the feedback I'm getting is what I desire, then I keep on keeping on. You know, don't fix what's not broken. You know, and some things might be working okay, but you desire something more. And that's totally cool too. And that's where you use the power of intention. To start saying, well, hold on, I want to step this game up a little bit, or I want to create something even more amazing. And so we can do that too, using our intention. And then the key is being extremely consistent. It's not a one-time thing, you know, like I've had some people that I work with, you know, do their consistent work for like a weekend. And then they wonder why, you know, that 3 days later it's not working. I'm like, well, you have decades of the old way and you have 3 days of the new way. Let's look at the numbers. It doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like
it takes a while, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. Well, it takes a little bit to turn the tide. It's like a big freighter, you know, it takes a while to turn that thing.
Yeah.
And again, it also depends on how big the situation is and how ingrained it is and how intense it is. You know, some things are a little bit easier to shift and some things take a little bit more like oomph to them, you know, right? So one of the ways you do this, you get this to work really well, is ask yourself this question. What is it that I am looking for in, and then whatever the situation is. So what am I looking for in my day today? What am I looking for in this meeting I'm about to have? What am I looking for in whatever is going to happen? And that answer of whatever it is you're looking for, what is it? Is it love? Is it kindness? Is it, you know, ease? Is it communication? What is it? Because the more specific I can be about what it is I'm looking for in this situation, the more effective I'm going to be. If I say I'm looking for a good time, that doesn't mean anything, because a good time could be different for all of us, right? But if I say I'm looking for authentic connection and, you know, feeling really confident, now I can measure that. I can give myself at least a read on it. So what is it that I'm looking for in fill in the blank? Then once you answer that, whatever it is, then you take 3 long, slow, deep breaths. It's very important to like really breathe, like exhaling and then inhaling and exhaling and doing that 3 to 5 times to just really shift the energy. Some people call it box breathing. Some people call it meditation breathing, but it's really like exhaling out all that tension and gook and holdiness, and then pausing and letting in the new, and then pausing and getting rid of the old.
Yeah, that's something I do, but I do sometimes as well. I just really, especially when I'm in stress or something like that, I usually then get up, have a bit of a walk, or just sometimes not have a walk, but just have a bit of a stroll around in my flat, and then I'm
right,
a bit more relaxed again. So
right,
something like that, just really calm down sort of thing.
Right, exactly. So however it is, you know, whatever works to get that energy shift, right? And when you get up to do those little walks or move around, you actually are breathing differently. So they work together. So sometimes if you can't get up and move, you just change how you breathe.
Yeah. Or the other thing is really then breathing exercises, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then After you do that for a minute, then you write down what it is that you're desiring and how you know you're going to have it. Like you write, actually write it down. And that's what I use my little Post-it notes for, or my journal, or my little cards, or whatever, is I write it down, because the act of thinking about it and then writing it, and then if you're really good at it, you say it in your head too, right? And the action of bringing a bunch of your senses into the same thing, focus, helps activate your inner wisdom a little bit more, because it tells you, it tells your system, I'm serious. If it's just a fancy thought, that you know, it could take a long time for it to land. But if I say, no, seriously, I want to have this and that, this is how I want this to be, and I'm writing it, and I'm looking at it, and it's real for me, it's important to me, and I put effort into it, then your inner self, your divine knowing, that wisdom in you, hears you as being serious versus, oh, she's just saying stuff. And so it's important. It's important to be aligned and dialed in that way for ourselves, you know?
So that was about the intentions. For instance, when I do something or whatever, I got a meeting, and before that, I more or less really write down really what's the intention of the meeting, what I want to get out of it, what's in it for me, sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't have that intention set for what it is that I want to get out of whatever the situation is, then it can be totally random. And you could get what is totally in your best interest and not even know it, and totally miss something amazing because you're not paying attention.
You
know, and so many people, I had a client call me up and say they just wanted to be happier, and could I help them be happier? So I said, tell me how you know when you're happy. Right? And they said, I don't know. I said, well, what if you're happy now and you don't know it? And that was like epiphany, you know, like if we don't have a way to be aware of it, or an understanding of what it is we're looking for, or how we're going to know when we have it, then we could be missing it. It could be right here and we're not even seeing it. So that's why it's important to be consistent and be paying attention. You know, and so many people, they don't pay attention, not really to their inner self. They're paying attention out here somewhere, but not to their inner self as much as they could be, you know? And so that's what really, really, really pays off. And then we write about it. We write it down. We put it in a journal. We do something. And then what we do at the end of the day, like sometime after dinner and before we go to bed, but not right before bed, we look at whatever it is, what our intentions are for the day, and we kind of say, okay, thank you, self, for making it through this day and doing all these things, and having an awareness and letting ourselves go to sleep fully confident that we stayed as consistent as we could. If we messed up, we messed up. If we did great, we did great. It's okay. But to know that, so that we have more awareness going into the next day. And then when we get up in the morning, we have a fresh slate. What too many people do is they bring yesterday's issues to today. And now today gets polluted with yesterday. And that doesn't work very well. It makes things harder. So we want to start the day clean. The best way to start the day clean is end the day. You know, like I have a journal. It's not here, but it has a hard cover on it. And so when I write in the end of the day, and then when I'm all done, and I don't write like a blow by blow what happened today. I write like what my intentions were. I write, you know, how did I do on them? What's my knowingness? What lessons did I get? Who taught me what? Those kinds of things that I'm going to be able to look back on and be grateful that I wrote that lesson down. Then when I'm all done and I feel complete for the day, right? Like I can sit up and I can breathe and there's no extra stuff. Then I take it and I write good night at the end, and then I slam the book closed. And that slam of the book closed is kind of like my symbol of the day is done. We don't get to worry about it, pontificate about it, be upset about it, be whatever, it's done. And now I can relax in kind of like a free space, and then go into dream time and into my sleep, manifesting and creating what's important to me. So my prayer before I go to sleep is to relieve from my life anything that's in the way of my highest good, and bring into my life the people, places, and situations that will serve my highest good. And so I can invite that in spiritually because I have cleaned up the day first.
Mm-hmm. Even
And
if there's some leftovers in a way as
right,
well.
right.
Yeah.
And whenever we carry those leftovers on, some people carry them for years and years and years. So it's in their story.
Mm-hmm.
And so those old stories, we keep them alive sometimes, and they don't serve us, but they are just as alive today as they were way back when, because we keep them alive.
Mm.
So it's a good practice to say, that was then, this is now. In the very beginning, I used to say the date to myself. Today is Saturday, blah, 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 date. That was then, this is now. Today, this is what we're doing. Today, this is what I'm doing. Today, this is what I'm doing. To help retrain my neurology that it no longer is going to be living in an unresourceful state from the past that really is irrelevant. It feels relevant because I've got it in my head, but it's not relevant in the real world. So when we start realizing that we're carrying around old stories that are just that, old stories, they're not real today.
Mm-hmm.
And that we can start to free ourselves from those and consistently intend and focus on what will serve us, what does move us into the direction we want to go to. Because we all have a vision. We all have that heart's desire. We all have a yearning. Everybody does, even if we're not aware of it. So then we start going after it, whatever that is. And then the more we head and we get momentum, guess what happens? More and more the old starts just dropping away because it doesn't have any place. So it's kind of fun, actually. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what we're going to do this week is, in the same topic place, we're going to all share about what is it that you're looking for in, and then put it in there. What am I looking for in my work? What am I looking for in my life? What am I looking for in my health? What am I looking for? And what are you intending to help yourself do to shift it? Like, what am I doing? And the reason why we're sharing our intentions with each other is so that we can support each other in them.
Okay.
So we're all going to write them in there, and then we're going to share with each other. Like if you read somebody else's intentions and you say, I got your back, or I see that with you, or whatever, so that people know they have support. Because the whole point of a community is people supporting each other and being engaged with whatever it is that we're talking about, or whatever the other person is trying to do. Because if we could do it all by ourselves, we would need a community. But this level of transformation does not happen independently. We can't do it by ourselves all alone.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to allow others in and engage back and forth and hear other people's stories and share our stories, because the old story energy will keep trying to bleed in until we've really moved well past it. And that's where the support of the community comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what our homework is to do, is to
Okay.
write about what is it that we're looking for in whatever. And it can be big, like I'm looking for more love in my life, or it could be a specific thing. There's no wrong answer. And if you have more than one thing, you're right, the more than one thing. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong answer. What matters, you get more out the more you put in. So when other people are commenting, you're commenting too, and you're putting effort in, you'll get more out. If you're not doing very much, you won't get as much out. So it's all up to us to say, okay, how much are we going to invest of our own energy, and what are we going to be willing to get out of it? And so that'll be where the fun part is, I think, anyway. Because it's fun to have everybody kind of growing together and then looking back and going, whoa, that was only a couple months ago, and look how different we are now, or look how my awareness is improved, or my energy level is different because I've made different choices. Because the stories run the show in a lot of ways. And sometimes we tell ourselves stories that are very limiting and they don't serve us. even when we want to fool ourselves to think they are.
Mm.
So, like, everybody was like, oh, you got to work hard. You got to work hard. Well, maybe you got to work smart. Or maybe it's not about work at all. Maybe our success and happiness and fulfillment is about following that inner knowingness. And all the rest of it takes care of itself.
Yeah.
What if some of those lessons we were taught aren't even true? We don't know till we follow our own heart, our own intuition, our own wisdom.
Yeah, one of my lessons in the last years have been anyway, it's not all about work, really. I mean, I've been working long hours before and things like that, but it's not all about work, really. And the last years, I just really said, okay, I have to step back a bit on the work side. I don't do that much projects now, although at the moment I do it again, but it's a bit of a different story. And I enjoy my life a bit more in a way, or just to have a bit more balance in my life rather than just working, actually.
Right. Yep.
One of the reasons I don't do any weekend work anymore or things like I've done shift work for a long time as well for projects. And I'm not doing that anymore because I know it just stressed me out completely.
Yeah.
I didn't get much out of it, to be honest, apart from stress. And then I said, okay, what's in it for me? It's not that much in it for me, apart from maybe a bit more money. But does that really matter? Really, for my life?
Right. Sometimes the more money is really a negative because the rest of our quality of life goes down.
Exactly, and that as well it causes very issues of my health because of those kind of hours working, especially as well on weekends and then on nights and something like that. And I decided, no, I don't do those kind of projects anymore. I just do more or less really. I work for clients really on normal times in a way. And that's more or less really something I've done now, more or less the last 2-3 years. The other thing is that I mainly work from home now, so I don't have that stress with traveling anymore.
Right. Yeah, lots changed that way, right? Working from home.
Yeah, I've done it before. I've done it before COVID already. I've done it 2 years before COVID. I already started with mainly working from home, actually, because as well my clients didn't want to pay any more money for more or less for my expenses anyway. So, and it's just for that kind of work I'm doing it fine because I'm working internationally. I've got teams in India, in Philippines, and in US. And it doesn't matter where I am, to be honest, as well.
Right. So that's perfect for you, and that you were already there. So that's terrific. So do you understand the homework for this week?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Perfect. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. And then I posted video about depression and spiritual awakening. That's a really interesting, it's like 15 minutes. So if you have a chance, you might want to watch it. It's quite fascinating, actually.
Okay.
And then I'll post some other things about resilience in the group so that, that'll help everybody kind of be on the same page with that. And so I'll be looking for your post, and then the people who are watching the video, I'll be looking for their posts about what is it that you're looking for in, and then whatever that is. And what's your intention?
Yeah.
And then we'll share it with everybody.
For me, it's more or less mainly now the human aspect, and more or less really. I would like to be there where I'm, let's say, where I'm able to support more people, where I'm, let's say, more relaxed and things like that. That's something I'm at the moment. So I try to do at the moment.
Yes.
Planning at the moment, actually.
So what would be the intention? And share that in the group, and then everybody can support you in it. And the more we share it and the more people support us, then the more momentum we build.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, have an amazing day today.
You too.
Thank you for showing up live. What a good time to hang out with you. And
thank you.
I will see you in the group, and then I'll see you in person next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking forward. Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye bye.